So
You can cut that.
we often
Yeah, I'll
have,
cut that out. I got you.
Like
It's starting now.
we often have some misconceptions about budgets, and I've told every class, and I absolutely hate the term budget. It should be a four-letter word. It's not four letters, but it should be. I really don't want you to think about budgets. I want you to think about a spend plan. How do you physically spend your money? Money coming in and money going out. But think about how you use your money. Bless you. Because we think about budget, we think about, oh my God, I've got to take this, how much I'm making, how much I spend. Don't worry about that. Let's focus on how you spend your money today. And so these are some common, what we think are misconceptions that people feel guilty about budgeting, that they got to have a frugal lifestyle. I mean, I like my money, but I also like to spend my money. And we think that budgets stress you. So most of you are college students, right? So you're on a fixed income. You're going to maybe have credit card debt at the end of college, right? It takes money once you graduate college to go out and get a house or apartment, a car, and all those things. And it is expensive. So really what we want you to think about is not misconceptions, but some real realities about having a budget or a spend.
So we edited that.
And this is what we came up with.
This is truth. So having a budget means actually feeling confident about your money. When you know where your money goes, and you have it compartmentalized, and you know how much you can spend on certain things, your confidence level goes up like crazy. You're out in the store and you're going, wow, I really want that. Should I just put it on the credit card and figure it out later? Or can I confidently just lay out the money and actually buy that? So we want you to learn how to prepare yourself for that level of confidence. Also, in order for your budget to be successful, it's not a real complicated thing. You're going to be amazed at how simple what we're going to show you today is. But the whole thing is just understand where your money goes. It doesn't matter how much you make. It's what you do with the money you do make. If you live within your means and you think with the long term in mind. And then budgets keep you, well, this says safe, but quite frankly, I like to say the budgets help you sleep at night. And I don't know how many people in here that might have yourself some financial problems, or your parents. You may have watched them when you were growing up, and they may have had some financial stresses and stuff. And it could very well be likely that they didn't have the opportunity to learn some of the things, the nuggets we're going to give you today. We're just going to barely scratch the surface. We're going to give you the general idea and how to really get a handle on your finances. So, you know, and if your parents didn't teach you this, it's not their fault, because nobody probably taught them. Because surprisingly, for many, many years, this has not been taught in high schools, and this has not been taught in colleges, and it's a shame. Because, I mean, we teach all these complicated classes that you may never use the rest of your life. You're going to use this every single day. Why it's not taught, I don't know. But we're about to give you the high-level nuggets, okay?
Not the Denver nuggets. It's about a 4-minute video.
Aw, man, I do not have the budget for new shoes right now.
Over budget, eh?
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe I can help. I'm a card-carrying budget builder.
I keep trying to make a budget that works for me, but it all keeps falling apart.
Sounds like you need a new approach. Don't hesitate to start from scratch and try again. Begin by getting your basic proportions right.
Go on.
A solid, well-proportioned budget will give you increased security, flexibility, and efficiency when it comes to money. You won't end up constantly broke before payday or saddled with out-of-control debts. What do you know about 50-30-20?
Is that a new boy band or something?
I like you. Allow me to demonstrate. Bring them in. Take your total net income and create a budget to spend 50% on needs,
Unessential.
30% on wants,
You know I'm the coolest one.
and put 20% into savings.
I've got your back.
You get it? Start with your needs. Factor in all the essentials like housing, insurance, clothing, transportation, cell phone, groceries, and utilities.
But what if my needs cost more than 50%?
If that's the case, you have 3 choices. finding cheaper options, looking for ways to earn more money, or sacrificing a bit from another category.
Hey, lousy needs.
Your wants are the most flexible category, but they can also be the hardest to wrangle. Wants include dining out, concerts, movies, fashion, electronics, travel, subscription services, and all other non-essential purchases.
Okay, I'll rein in my wants if my needs are too expensive. Cool.
You could also sacrifice wants to put more into savings. Hey, back off, pal.
Yeah.
Savings are extremely important, and not just for big, long-term goals like buying a house or retiring. You can also save for short-term future expenses, like an annual payment or a needed computer upgrade. You should put some money aside for an emergency fund as well. Saving out ahead of time will help you keep your budget more manageable, so you don't have to resort to high-interest debt to cover unforeseen expenses.
Can I save less than 20%?
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, but remember that your savings help with future needs, which aren't optional.
That's right. Ignoring me could come back to haunt you.
All right, I like this whole 50-30-20 thing, but my real problem is sticking to the game plan. How do I keep my budget from falling apart again?
That depends on you. Do you want total and complete control? Then go old school and make an itemized spreadsheet.
And if I want super easy?
Then let technology do it for you. There are some great online tools and apps out there that make budgeting a step. No matter which method you choose, make sure you track your spending for 2 months to get a full picture of your spending habits. Then you can make adjustments to trim down your needs, maximize your wants, and stay on top of savings.
Nice. I can make it all work together instead of feeling like each expense is fighting for dominance.
Yeah, when your budget is well built, everything will fit nicely.
Awesome. I'll use the 50-30-20 rule as a framework and build myself a better budget this time.
Now you're talking. Go get 'em.
Whoops.
How simple can that be? 50, 30, 20. So that's pretty easy to remember, right? So let's talk about the different components of that.
Well, we don't have a specific slide on savings, but one of the things that I do want to highlight with the savings, in particular is, regardless of how much you opt to save, always take your savings first. Pay yourself first, right? Because if you take this $200 and you put it into savings first, then you're really going to learn to live off of the $800 that you have remaining, and then the savings just adds up on its own, and you don't feel like you're giving up anything. You've already paid yourself forward. And you're going to need that money at some point. Emergencies, those things that they're talking about, those things that just happen one-off that you need that money. And we'd rather see you take the money from a savings account in some cases than put it on a high-interest credit card.
A thought just hit me is, I'm a fan of different. So as we're going through this, think about, you may be sitting there thinking, well, all of my friends look like this or whatever. Dare to be different. Because what you do today will severely impact how you are able to do it tomorrow. So the needs piece, so we'll just use $1,000 as just easy math, right? Don't do that. Anyway, so 30% on wants, 20% on savings. Did you know, how many people think it would be difficult to come up with $100 a month to put into savings that you do not touch no matter what? It may be kind of difficult right now where you sit in your life with income levels. I know some of you don't have jobs right now because you're in school. Some are going to school and have a job and everything. But coming up with just $100 a month, if you save that from age 25 to you retire at age 65, you will have $1 million plus. No question.
Not
Okay.
including the interest that you're going to earn on.
It doesn't sound possible, but if you do the math, you will have over $1 million, $100 a month. So if you stick by this, you're doubling it if you make $1,000. So think, whatever job you get, whatever you go out there and you get, you're going to make at least $1,000 take home a month. The potential is there. If when I was in college, oh my gosh. But anyway, so keep that in mind.
So let's jump into the needs. These are the things that you have to have, right? Everybody's got to have a place to put their head at night. Cell phones, today's society, you really can't live without them. They're expensive. Food, transportation, and clothing. But a couple things that we like to point out on here where you actually do have some flexibility is clothing. Do you need a $100 pair of jeans or do you need a $30 pair of jeans? The need is jeans. You control how much you pay for it. Food, where do you choose to eat? Do you choose to eat at a high-end restaurant every day? Or do you choose to eat, go buy your groceries at King Soopers or Safeway or wherever you buy your groceries?
And this piece, back to this piece. These are areas that you can get out of control, even though they're needs. So back to the jeans comment or whatever, I was listening to a well-known financial education person in the United States. He was interviewing 10 millionaires. He said, every millionaire he asked the same question. These are multi-millionaires. And they got there following his steps and all. And so he said, how much is the most expensive pair of jeans you bought? 9 out of 10 of those people says, oh, I bought them at resale shops. They might want the brand names, but even they are not too big in their britches to buy some clothes at a resale shop. So be thinking about that. We're going to give you a few different ideas on where you can find a way to get that $100 a month to get started. Transportation, we're not in that, can't find the word, dense of a city. So you probably do need a car. But do you need a new car? The first few years you drive a new car off the lot, you lose 60 to 70% of its value. No kidding. I've never bought a new car in my life, and I never will. I don't care how much money I have. I'm not buying a new car. It's ridiculous. Don't show this to the car dealers. So anyway.
I wouldn't even told Scott that. Oh. Your wants. This is where you really truly have some flexibility in your budget. And this is the part, as the video kind of alludes to, this is the hardest part for all of us, where we fight back and forth because we want what we want. We're Americans. We want what we want when we want it. But there's some things, and we've got a couple other slides here in a second that we'll talk to it, but some areas that you have. One of the things that I do is my wife and I never go watch new movies, right? We never, maybe once a year we'll actually go physically to the movie theater and watch a movie. It's expensive, right? We'll wait a week and we watch it on Redbox or we watch it on CenturyLink or Netflix, but or Amazon Prime. We find other ways to watch it because we don't have to watch it the day it comes out. But there's ways like this that you can still have what you want, but think about how you're getting. And we've got a slide here that I think will talk to it. And I'll let you, since you just saw this, I'll let you do this.
Okay, so this company down here at the bottom did this survey all across the United States. What do you think it costs to just go grab lunch on average across the country?
$10.
Yeah, see, there's more here.
We all think it's 10.
I think it's 12, about $12. I mean, I drove through Wendy's several months ago. I don't normally eat fast food, and I almost fell out of the car when I got a burger, a drink, and I don't even think I got fries, and it was $12. I mean, it was, honestly, and it's not good food. So anyway, this is the average for their surveys, but that's across the whole country. But I think we're all pretty much in agreement in this room that it's more than that. It's more than that. So how much? So if you took your lunch, and I don't know if you want to go buy salad at King Soopers and take your lunch, or buy one of those little frozen things for $2.50 where you just pop it in the microwave. It takes no effort whatsoever. Yeah, you have to stand there for a minute. But you get lunch for $2.50, $40, right?
in our lunch every day.
I just paid $8.11 for a grilled cheese sandwich downstairs, no fries, and a drink. $8.11 here on campus. Really? Oh, anyway, so what do you think you'd spend? So you got a job, you go to work 5 days a week, and you run grab lunch for 5 days. What do you think you'd cost? And that's at the 8 average, right? So what do you think in a year? Well, that's how much money you spend just eating out for lunch.
What could you do with $2,300 extra dollars a
Yeah.
year?
Think about it.
These
My
cars.
whole suggestion of $100 a month, right, to get to be a millionaire by the time you retire, $100 a month, that's $1,200. You've far surpassed that. Just thinking more financially responsible without eating out for lunch. But I'm telling you, when you go downstairs, you go, oh, it's less than $10. That's easy. Oh, it's less. Okay, that's easy. It's not that much. But when you really start adding it up, especially over a year, oh my gosh, that surprised me. So what if you say, oh, but my friends like to get together on Tuesdays and Thursdays because we have a book study or something, or whatever. So let's say you cut that down and you only eat out twice a week. How much would you save? Still $900. So it doesn't mean you can't ever eat out for lunch. But start thinking about this and start thinking, okay, if I just go once a week, stock up my freezer with some of those frozen microwavable things, still not good food. You're better off, shopping and making your own food. But still, you can save a lot of money by thinking differently about your lunches. Something that simple. Wait, is the next one the coffee?
No,
No, it's subscriptions. Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
So subscriptions. And this is one of the things that we all do it, or the vast majority of Americans use subscription services. It's easy, whether it's Xbox or Netflix, or Amazon Prime, Spotify, Pandora. It doesn't, there's hundreds of them out there. We all do it. And one of the things that we don't realize is that most companies, they'll tell you we've gone to online statements because it saves everybody money and it's cheaper, right? But how many people actually go in each month and look at their bank statement or their credit card statement? I don't.
Good.
Good for you.
We should stand up and give her a round of applause. We should all be doing that, y'all.
And the one that comes to mind most recently is, did anybody watch season 8 Game of Thrones? Right? So Netflix made it that to watch the season, you had to get the subscription. On the premise that after 30 days you could cancel the subscription and move on. The vast majority of people, Netflix is making millions off of this because most Americans will not go back in and cancel that subscription.
Don't forget to do it.
They just forget to do it. So
I was on a motorcycle trip last May, to ride to Austin. So I downloaded some books on Audible so I could listen to my earbuds as I'm going to the boring roads of Texas, right? So I'm listening to it. I get home, never think about it again until I had card fraud on my credit card. So I had to go in and everything I had set up to automatically hit my credit card, I had to go through and call every company. And I'm like, holy cow, I have been paying for that for over a year. Hadn't used it since that trip. I just forgot. That and several other subscription services, boy, that got my attention really fast. I was spending a lot of money every month. So this company did a survey, and they gave the people doing the survey 10 seconds to respond, and then an additional 10 seconds to respond. And then they asked everybody to go back and actually look at your financials, look at your accounts, your credit cards, and your checking account statements, and actually add up what the real answer is. So,
what do you think it is?
off the top of your head, what do you think you spend
On average.
on subscription services? Amazon, Netflix, Hulu.
How much? 50?
60.
35, 60? Okay.
That was the general consensus, around $80, right?
So think about it again. We know it's not 80. We know it's not less than 80. So what else do you think it would be? 120? Close.
Yep. Really
112. But that's not the real answer. So what do you think the real answer is that the average American spends annually for subscription services? 135?
Oh my
every month.
Yes.
Because
If
if
you
you-
don't think about it, you set it up on automatic, boom, out of mind.
Well, think about it. Netflix right now, I think is running about $17. I think my Spotify is $14. My Pandora is probably $14 or $15. I mean, and that's, and my Amazon, whatever that is.
Yeah.
But
It adds up so
it-
fast.
And we just don't think about it. So those things, go back next month and look at your statements, your credit card, your bank statements, and those ones you don't need, cancel them. How much money out of that average of 237 could you save?
Wait. Don't go to the next meeting. How many people like Starbucks?
How many like Dutch Brothers? Well, she's got proof positive.
Well, are they as expensive as Starbucks?
I don't know. I just know that's the other one everybody wants.
Okay, so, how many of you that like Starbucks go through the drive-through, and how many go in and spend time at Starbucks? Drive-through. So why do you go to Starbucks? You're not going there to see anybody, right? So, okay.
Is it the
So,
logo? Are you going for the brand?
is it cool to have the cup? Is it cool? I don't know. I don't know. Tastes good. Okay, so if you could buy that same taste good coffee for less, let's look at this. How much you would save? So the same size, caramel macchiato, Starbucks, over $5. 7-Eleven, $1.65.
And
Of course.
that's Colorado Springs. She actually called
Yeah.
yesterday and got it.
Yeah. So, okay, you're gonna have to get out of the car and go in. If you're gonna save that much. So, I figured out, 5-day work week. People are just in the habit of going through that drive-through and picking up that caramel macchiato. If you went to 7-Eleven instead, you save $902 in a year. $902 in a year. So the value in going to Starbucks is, are you meeting with a friend? Is it gonna be an experience? Is it bonding time with friends or anything? Well, if it's not, then actually why rethink that, maybe? You know, if that's your thing, then no. It's probably a $900 decision each year, but you know, if that's your thing, that's your thing. You're gonna have to figure out which of those other little cool bricks to steal from. Cause that's a blue,
What's the
that's a
other,
one.
what's the other advantage to actually getting your coffee at 7-Eleven?
And you guess.
Well, there is that,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. But you actually have to get out of the car. You actually have to go into a place, maybe meet somebody, make the coffee yourself.
He's just trying to get stepped.
I am. It's about 120 steps to go get coffee and back. So I'm just walking back and forth. I'm at 4,000 steps a day.
Yeah, no.
But think about it. You know, Americans, we just get out, go do something. So don't just think about the cost value. You're doing something for yourself.
And if there's a cool factor, go ahead and invest up front in a cool Starbucks mug, then go to 7-Eleven and order it.
You can keep your cup right there.
Right.
You already
Yeah.
got to start. You've already
That's
got
right.
your cup.
She's got
Like
it up.
it's fancy.
But that's what I mean. You keep your cup.
No, the drink itself is fancy.
Oh.
I can't get it at 7-Eleven.
Well, what we're comparing is 2 caramel macchiatos, the exact same drink. So they don't have all the different skinny pop thingy dudes, whatever, that Starbucks has. Yes, they
Pumpkin
don't.
spice latte.
But now that's a decision for you to make. Is it worth $900 to have my fancy coffee? It's a personal choice, but what we're here to do is just raise awareness of some of these choices, because a lot of people have never actually thought of that. Quite frankly, I pour coffee out of a coffee pot into a mug and take it with me every morning, so I save even more than that. Because I'm not a coffee aficionado. I'm not a coffee snob. There are coffee snobs. I have a friend who's a huge coffee snob. I can't even make her a pot of coffee. She is such a coffee snob. But she can afford the extra $900 a year. You know? So we're just telling you, be thinking of these things. Just raise the awareness.
And so during the video, one of the things they talked about was how can you track your budget? And I actually do it both. I'm an old guy, so I still track mine on an Excel spreadsheet, everything coming in and everything going out. But I also use a couple different tools, and Ent has two. One is for Ent members, it's called Money Insight. We just launched a new one for non-members, it's called Money Insight Lite.
And we did that because we think this is so important. You don't have to be a member of Ent to use the tool, because we think this is such critical importance for our whole country that we are, you know, this is available to anybody that logs on to our website. I mean, it's an app you download in the App Store. Money Insight Lite, L-I-T-E.
Yeah, if you just put Ent Money, it'll actually pop up.
But anyway, do it.
So, I'm kind of a visual, most Americans are, and so these are some tools that are inside of these apps. And the one that, the two examples I like to use, because I like to keep it personal, is I have a beautiful wife, I love her to death. But last month, I was looking at my bank statement and I saw she spent over $1,000 at King Soopers. It's me, my wife, all my 5 kids are gone, so it's my wife and I, our 2 dogs and our cat. How does she spend $1,000 at King Soopers, right? So I pulled her in, and yes, I'm still married after this. I showed her on the app that the cart, this is groceries, is red. And then if you click on it, it brings down all the money she spent. Then it actually goes into the days. And she goes, well, honey, I only went to the store twice. Because what she's thinking is 2 times she went into King Soopers and made big purchases every other week. What she wasn't thinking about is the day she went in to get cat food, she got fruit, she got something else. She actually went to King Soopers like 7 or 8 times. But she wasn't thinking about, well, I just went in to buy cat food. I didn't spend any money. The reality is she spent $1,000 because she's not thinking about what she's spending. This is my daughter. She's a junior up at Regis University in Denver. And last semester I kept looking, I'm like, why is your money red? You have a meal plan. I paid $1,300 for it. Well, what she was doing is she works part-time and she's buying food after work and stuff. But she didn't realize that each time she spent $8, $10, $12 on food, she was running up about $600 a month in additional food costs, right? But that's the nice thing that these tools do is they let you actually, green, good, right? Means you're under budget. Yellow means that you're either at or close. And red means that you're over. Very visual.
So you can just pull up your phone. You're in the store and you're looking for
Right.
something and you're going, ooh, I want that. How am I doing? Oh crap. You know, or sweet, I can buy it. I'm free to buy it. That confidence level, and know you're not spending outside of what you can afford.
And after 2 months, it mentions that in the video, these programs actually become very intuitive. They actually can figure out where your spending habits are. So it takes about 60 days. But how many of you in here are going to have student debt when you're done? Yeah, probably most of you. One of the other really great tools about this is you can actually put in your student debt, and you can actually look at when you graduate, how long it's going to take you to pay that off. That may not be attractive, right? But if you go back and think about, if I start saving and I start managing my spending, how can I pay that off before I get 65 years old? But that's the nice thing about these tools, that they're very visual. The Money Insight, I had 26 accounts with 5 financial institutions, right? So instead of having to put 5 apps on my phone, I have 1 app, and I can go into all of my accounts. I just put my thumb on the pad, it brings up my account, I scroll down, I can see all of my accounts, real time where all of my money's at. And so no matter where you're at, I always know how much money that I have and how much I'm spending. It also tells you how much you're in debt, how much you're worth. It's just, they're great tools. This is Money Insight. This is for Ent members. So if you're a current Ent member and you log into your account, this is there for you already. For those non-Ent members, and other financial institutions have some of these products. So even if you don't use Money Insight Lite, look at your financial institution and see, do they have a similar product. They're just phenomenal tools. And with that, I think this is about where we're at. But one of the things that we'd like you to do as well, don't be afraid to go to Ent.com, financial wellness. There's a ton of tools. And actually, that website, everything on that is on the Money Insight Lite on the back page. It's got some great calculators, bless you. Just got some great tools in there. Start thinking about it now. Start thinking about your finances today, but think about 6 months, 2 years when you're going to graduate college. A young lady earlier asked us about how much did she think it cost when you graduate to go out and get an apartment and start. My son graduated from Colorado Mesa last year. It cost him almost $5,000 to get an apartment, pay the rent, get the utilities started. The bed's nice, right? Dishes, curtains. You know, it's between $3,000 to $5,000 to go out and get started.
Yeah. Just renting a place, it's not the monthly rent. You gotta come up with a deposit and the first month's rent just to get in the door.
And a lot of places right now are asking for 2 or 3 months deposit up front.
Yeah, it's expensive. So that's why we want you guys to start really just changing the way that you think about your money. Think with the long term in mind. It doesn't mean you can't have any fun. It just means if you categorize your money, know where it's going and everything, you can have confidence knowing that, yay, I can go do this and not worry about it because I got my savings covered and I've got my needs covered. So I have this left to play with, you know? And yeah, you can still from category to category, but you really don't want to neglect that savings piece. Because remember, $100 a month. And look, we've looked at saving a lot more than that on lunches. So maybe $100 on lunches, $100 on coffee, $100 on subscription services. There you got $300. If you're going to be a millionaire at 65 with one, it's not high finance. So, anyway, hopefully y'all got a couple of nuggets out of that. Some food for thought.
Any
And-
questions?
Yeah.
Thoughts? Yes, sir.
So you're talking about the 50-30-20 rule, and that was with like a fixed income. We already have a variable income tips and stuff like that. Is there an easy way to incorporate the 50-30-20 that I'm doing per day with it and all that?
I think what I would do, and Jay can chime in, but I think what I would do is I would wait and see what you're doing for like a month and what you're bringing. Because my youngest son, he's got tips. And what we told him to do is over a month, figure out about what that average was, and then to kind of go from there. Because we know that some days are busier, seasons are busier. The 30 to 60 day window, you should get a fairly good idea of what that's going to be.
And if you don't want to take, like, if you don't want to wait till the end of the month because you're not sure you can trust yourself, but, you know, set it aside, you can set it aside along and then shore it up at the end of the month. Okay, but this was my whole month's worth. And, oh, I saved $500. Well, I didn't really have to save $500, so I can actually put $200 over here into once or whatever. I mean, you can shore it up at the end of the month. But I would try to make a little progress on your savings all along, just so you know it's not at the end of the month.
Well, for you, if you get tips, the other reason why you might want to put a little bit more in savings is because if that next month you get less tips,
Yeah.
then you have a little reserve that you can pull. That's a great question.
Yeah. You know, there's such a crisis in this country on people not knowing how to save money. Actually, we've got some new products we're working on. I don't know if the one was recorded. Let me wait till she turns that off.
I can
so,
turn it off.